So we're about to start our adventure. I'm with my friend Tuan and his partner Kevin, who come out here every year. There's so many trails here in the Quartzsite area. You could literally spend weeks. I actually thought there would be more campers out here than there are, considering that this is January, sort of like peak season for the desert. It's in the 60s right now, but it will warm up to the 70s. It gets chilly at night. It was like maybe 48 last night. There's a mixture. There's mostly RVs here, but there's a section for tents. But this can hold a lot of rigs, and you don't really feel like you're on top of each other. But you know, you'll see everything from schoolies here to $500,000 rigs in here, and everything in between. This campground charges you $40 for 2 weeks. So you break that down over 2 weeks, it's not too bad. I don't know. But there are other spots here that I would probably come back to that are basically free, because most BML land is very, very cheap. But some of these places that have more amenities, you know, they do charge accordingly. So I'm hoping that my camera angle on my helmet is okay. I did a shakedown test prior to this. And it all worked out fairly well. There's just tons of trails out here. I need to get on my next wish list, I need to get a decent GPS, because I like to go and not really think about where I'm going, but then I like to, you know, be able to come back to the camp. And when you're out here, it is real easy to get lost because most of this, you know, it looks all the same after a while. And until you're used to it, all these trails are pretty hard to distinguish one from another. So I'm trying to do a little research now into finding what the best GPS is for off-road, and you naturally get a lot of different opinions from whoever you talk to. Everybody has, you know, their idea what the best is to use. I don't like to rely on cell phone GPS because, like right here in this particular area, I don't have any signal. So Google Maps is pretty much useless. I like to give a little distance between following people because I don't like to have to taste the dust. And sometimes riding over here in the rocks is actually better because you don't stir up all the dust. But I don't think there's any really super technical stuff here. Maybe, I don't know. Right now we're just on service roads. This is just still part of the campground. It's just miles and miles of any main trail right now. We're just covering some territory to get to the trails. This is still actually camp area. I haven't seen too many bikes out here since I've been here. I did see a KLR the other day, a little 250 KLR. But other than this DR, I haven't seen too many dual sports. Mostly four-wheelers, quads. I personally would rather be on a bike than a four-wheeler, but you know, it's all fun. You can take more crap with you on a four-wheeler, of course, but I don't need to take crap with me. Some of these people have got mega money tied up into these rigs. I saw a couple schoolies here, but for the most part it's RVs. There's different areas for tents because they keep the tents close to the restrooms, but you're going to see more RVs than anything. those hills up there is sort of like where we're heading. Kevin's trying to figure out, I guess, where to go. These guys have explored quite a bit out here already, but we're lucky we have perfect weather. You know, it's too damn hot out here in the summer. You melt to death. Or if you are out here in the summer months, you've got to be on the trail at sun up, and then find a comfortable place by about 10:30 or 11, because then it's too freaking hot. But I like coming out here just to look for different rocks and crystals, and you know, I found some really cool, amazing quartz just out, you know, here in the campground. I found some really cool stuff, and you'll find more interesting stuff when you go like where there's a wash, because when the rains come, glad I have changed tires, because I had some, I don't even think they were 50-50 tires. They were more like, I call them street tires, but they would have never handled this stuff. This is a lot of rock, as you can see, but there's a lot of soft gravel also. Different trails, it's like I have no idea where I am. Just helps to keep the momentum going. Sort of have to have a little tractor factor going. If you slow down to nothing on some of those inclines, you'll get into trouble. Sometimes in the loose stuff, momentum is your best friend. Especially in sand. If you go too slow in sand, forget it. I don't know. This is beautiful country though. I love these cactuses. I don't know what these little All these little trails have numbers, and I actually have a map, but I haven't put a trail to the map to figure out where everything's at. Here's a cabin, an old cabin up here. There's quite a few cabins around here. I don't know one from the other, but I've seen other YouTube videos showing these cabins, and I remember this cabin. I've seen this in in somebody's other video. There's a lot of history here. See, all these have like 13-8B, and all these trails have a number, but if you don't have the map, you really don't know what's what. Evan took off here. Best rule of thumb is when you're going down through those washes, you don't want to slow down. A lot of new riders make that mistake of slowing down, and then they have a hard time getting back up. I don't know, today I don't have to think, I just follow Kevin. It's just good to be back on the bike. This is actually the first real off-roading that this bike and I have been on. Because this bike came from Bellingham, Washington, and I used it pretty much just for commuting when I was up in the Seattle area and Portland. But this is the really first day of trail riding. I did go to another spot in California with it, some BML and Lake County, HOV or whatever. I can't remember the name of where I was. But I didn't do anything heavy duty because I still had those god-awful old tires that came with the bike, which, like on this hard pack, I would probably do okay, but in these real soft, sandy washes, I would have had some difficulty, to say the least. I can really tell these knobs that I have on now really give you some decent traction, and it makes it much easier. I have my hiking boots with me today. I've got to get a new pair of MX boots. I can really tell the difference. hard pack, but then it gets real soft in different spots, and that's where these tires really come in handy. And it was funny, I left Friday morning to come out here, and Thursday night I was still putting these tires on in my garage. So I really took it down to the wire of getting ready for this trip, because I ordered the tires and they took about a week to get in, and then I had to put new wheel bearings on the back wheel, because that was a separate wheel that I bought off eBay. And then I got it, and then of course the wheel bearings were toast. So when I took them out, they were all rusty and gnarly, and so I had to do all that. Put a new sprocket on. I'm running stock sprockets. There was a 49 on here, which I think is better for off-road, because the stock one's a 41. But now I'm not riding this bike too much on the road, because these tires that I have on right now are not DOT. We're regrouping here. This is coyote country. I think we're crossing the road, I think. I guess not. I'm not used to feeling a draft on my ankles, because normally when I have my riding boots, all that is protected. I had Forma adventure boots, which I loved, but when I moved over to the Philippines, I knew I wasn't going to be able to use them there, so I sold them to a buddy of mine, and now I wish that I would have just stored them at Silva's house, because now I got to buy them again. And riding boots are not cheap. I guess we're going to regroup here or something. I don't know what we're doing. It's okay, you know, I don't mind that they're not really sure about where they're going because I don't have a clue. So, you know, I'm just going along for the ride. Eat my dust. Yippee-yo. Looks like more ruins or something up here. You can see. I see some kind of, I don't know if it's other cabins or what it is, but we'll see if we go that way. For those of you who don't know, I'm on a 98 Suzuki DR350. These are great little bikes. And before this, I had a Honda CRF 250L when I was in the Philippines. I like this bike actually better. This is lighter than the CRF. CRF wasn't a bad bike, but it was one of the only new dual sports that I could get in the Philippines. You would think that you'd have a big selection, but the Asian market is not the same. Oh, I'm taking some shitty lines here. And I had a Kawasaki 300 Versi in the Philippines, which was actually more of a street bike. It's not, I wouldn't really take the Versi off-road like this. They call it a light adventure bike, but it's I mean, it'll do fire roads, but